Right, perfect. So now we're going to get into live examples. I'll keep this very short, but this particular document you'll have, assuming you paid for this course, and if you didn't, you got it for free, so I paid for it. You better be, taking the opportunity to go through this PDF. But ultimately, I'll go through a bit of examples right now. Again, you'll have them there, but I want to have a bit of a conversation with you and hear me say these things out, right? So I have them on the board here, but I'll read them from my PC. So the first objection is, I'm not the decision maker, right? So the response can be, yeah, look, understood. But before I loop others in, right, what concerns do you think they'd raise, right? That's an example, number one, right? But just to be more clear, second response could be, yeah, look, that makes absolute sense. They say they're not the decision maker. Yeah, that makes absolute sense, right? Someone can say to you, hey, look, I'm not the decision maker. My wife's the one who deals with this, or my husband's the one who deals with this. Yeah, absolutely, man. That makes absolute sense, right? But if your partner is anything like mine, then you would have already spoken about this before, right? What concerns have they raised before about selling or leasing your property? Okay? Now, what you're doing here, ultimately, you're acknowledging the fact that they're saying they're not the decision maker. You're agreeing with them, but then you're asking them, what concerns would them and their partner have spoken about this before? Now, chances are, 99% chances are, they have spoken to their partner about either renting or selling their property. And whatever concerns that he or she may have at that moment, and will tell you, chances are they're the same concerns their wife or their husband has. But the mere fact that you acknowledge them and you agree, because what they're doing, they're objecting, they're trying to defer you to someone else so that they don't have to partake in, so that they don't have to ultimately play ball with you right now. Right? Most people are weak. And I say that in a very, not a concerned manner, but I say that in a very light. I don't want you to take anything bad out of it, but most people are generally weak in the sense that they don't want to make decisions. Right? I know you've dealt with this. You know someone who, you probably have a partner who doesn't want to make the decision. Right? They're always asking you something, right? Or they're always deferring something to you. Generally, you'll find people like that, but it's your job to control that particular situation, because your inability to do so will take money out of your pocket. Does that make sense? Right? So someone says to you, hey, look, I'm not the decision maker. My wife's the one that deals with that. Yeah, look, absolutely, man. That makes sense. But look, if your partner is anything like mine, then you guys would have already spoken about this before, right? What concerns has he or she raised about selling or leasing their property? Then they'll be like, and this is logic, right? This is logical thinking. Yeah, well, look, when we spoke, I think she was concerned about the fact that the rent right now is much less than what we're paying with the bond, so it wouldn't really make sense. Right? Now, that's another objection. The fact that the bond or the rent is less, it still wouldn't stop them from making a good decision if they needed to move, or if they needed to rent their property out because some life event has happened, they have to go all the way to Spain. Do they really care about the fact that 1,000 Rand they're going to be paying out of their pocket if they're going to Spain? They don't. But you won't find out that information if you don't handle the objection. The moment the person says, I'm not the decision maker, you're going to be like, oh, okay, cool, bye, put down the phone. You've missed the opportunity. That person could have had a life-changing event or something that would cause them to justify renting or selling their property. But you need to be able to know this information to partake in this particular game. All right, I'll skip the second one because we've gone through it. Right, now someone says to you, hey, look, man, I don't have time. So you're calling them up, hey, look, my name is XYZ. I'm calling from XYZ and this is what we do. Hey, yeah, look, I don't have time right now. Call me later. Right? People say that all the time. In fact, when people cold call you, you say the same thing. Right? Now, perfect answer would be, yeah, look, totally, man, your time is valuable, right? If I could show you how this saves time long term, right? Would 5 minutes today make sense? You can say it with a very easy tone. You can say it logically, be bold. But it's like, look, would 5 minutes really take anything away from me? 5 minutes, if it could save me time in the future, I just need to spend 5 minutes right now. I need to invest 5 minutes to earn hundreds of hours in the future of saving time. They may consider, they may not. But the fact that you've pushed that particular objection and you've said something puts you in a 10 times better position, right? Or you could be like, yeah, look, I know you don't have time, man. Most of the people we've helped, now listen to me carefully, most of the people we've helped, right, have all said the exact same thing when I called them up for the first time. Everyone that we eventually helped said the same thing, right? but would you afford me 5 minutes or less to show you how this could save time long term? Now, what you've done there ultimately, you've told the person that what they're saying, everyone says, right? You then disarm the fact that they're, throwing you with this particular objection. You disarm it. Yeah, look, man, everybody we call every single day never have time, right? Especially the ones that we've helped. But if you would afford me 5 minutes of your time, could I show you how you could save time long term? That's basically an objection. If you go through all those objections, in fact, the advanced course will have me run out through all the objections, and I'll give you information that you can use real time. It's going to be very important for you to practice these, but let's move on to the next one. Right, excellent. So this particular segment is still on objections, but I'm going to make it very short and for one specific reason. I'm going to re-emphasize the initial part of objections, right? And ultimately the initial part of agreement. Now, all the objections we've just gone through right now, again, this is not the advanced course. All you need right now is that particular document that has the objections that you generally will find within real estate in different avenues of business. But specifically, what you have right now is tailored for real estate. And when I say that, I mean the responses in real estate. Now, if you take out the words such as selling or leasing or property, then you can insert any other avenue that you're in. Ultimately, when you handle objections, it'll be the same method, because generally it's always going to be the exact same thing, right? But I can't stress this enough. My point to you is that whenever you handle anyone's objection, always agree with them. They could be wrong. The information that they have could be absolutely wrong. In fact, it could be absurd, right? They could be telling you, hey, look, man, but the sky is gray. It's not blue. Yeah, absolutely. Of course. In fact, anybody who would think the sky is blue is crazy, out of their mind. But I want you to look up right now. Tell me what color that is. It's blue. That's what they'll say to you right now. But the fact that you've agreed with them with whatever absurd thing they've said, and you've ultimately came in and agreed with them, you can interject and put in anything else thereafter, and they're inclined to agree with you, right? So go through that list of objections. Again, this is only just to emphasize on agreements, but I want you to hang tight and let's go through to the next segment.